Hello everyone, we are square root negative 11, and we would like to welcome you to our final project presentation for our game, Clueless. The goal of our presentation today is to provide our viewers with a full demonstration of our game in its completed state, as well as discuss some of the key features that have been implemented since the minimal system increment stage was completed. Join us while we present to you our final draft for our game, Clueless. Currently, the game is at the target system increment development stage. This means that our game is in the final stage of development and exhibits some new and exciting features that were not available during the minimal system increment design phase. During this presentation, we will be addressing the following topics: the project's current state of development, target system increment features, dream increment features, and finally, we will have a final product demonstration of our game. As it currently stands, the Clueless game is at the conclusive stage of development that we like to call the target system increment development stage. What we mean by this is our project not only has all of the basic gameplay functions of the Clueless game implemented, but it also has all of the quality of life features implemented as well, such as a fully functioning GUI, real-time gameplay log, direction validation, and more, that were not previously implemented in the minimal increment or skeletal increment development design stages. Therefore, the version of Clueless that will be presented to you today will feature a fully functioning game complete with a graphical user interface, custom graphics, interactive chat, and much more. Coming up next in our presentation, we will be taking a closer look at all of the new and exciting target features that have been implemented in this modern and up-to-date version of our Clueless game. These new target increment features are crucial in completing the overall look and feel and operation of the game, and also serve to provide players with a smoother, more pleasant gameplay experience. For the final design phase of the game, we decided to implement the following target increment features: a completed network interface that is free of bugs and errors, a newly refined server application, a professional-looking Java Swing GUI that will allow players to interact with the game on a more efficient and enjoyable level, a main GUI interface that features a game board and updates the game in real time with data such as the player's moves and the current player's turn, a detective pad that allows the players to check off the game cards that have been seen during the game, buttons featuring game actions such as suggest and accuse, and finally, a D-pad was added to the GUI to allow players to quickly and easily move to different areas around the game board during gameplay. Moving ahead to the next phase of our presentation, we will be discussing what we like to call the dream increment features of our game. These were features that we consider to be less important to the game's core functionality, but extremely important to the player's personal gaming experience. While there were many dream increment features that could have been added to this project that would have ultimately improved the overall look and feel of the end product, we decided that the following features would add the most value to both the game and the player, as well as provide the most optimal gaming experience possible. The key dream increment features that we decided to include were the ability for the players to select the character of their choice at the start of the game, the ability for a player to customize the name of the characters, the name of the rooms, and the name of the weapons. And finally, the game features an interactive chat function that allows players to interact with one another throughout the course of the game. And now that we have looked at all of the new features that have been added during the final design phase of the project, I will now turn the presentation over to our project manager, Nick Blair, who will walk us through a full demonstration of our completed game.
All right, hello and welcome to our final Clueless demonstration. Today I'll be demonstrating the full goal increment with a GUI client, 6 clients all on my machine connected to a server instance that I have running off screen, listening on port 1, 2, 3, 4. So I have the 6 clients kind of scattered around here. Why they are where they are will make sense in a little bit when we get to like the bigger GUIs. And then that notepad I have in the background is going to keep track, kind of more for me as I tab between all 6 of these clients. I have a little arrow, the player name, and I randomly assigned just some the characters. I just randomly assigned them out to which each player is going to want to play as. So the players we have are going to be Albert, Beatrice, Charlie, Dolly, Eugene, and Franny. That's A through F, and I'm going to have them connect in that order so I can keep it straight of like A connected, then B connected. And the way we keep track of like the organization around the table of like what you would have in a normal game of Clue, right? The person clockwise to your left gets to go after you. They also are like the person that first tries to refute you, and then it keeps going to your left. The way we keep track of that is the order you connected in. So we're going to connect in order A, B, C, D, E, F, so that I can keep track, like after Albert, it's then Beatrice's turn, right? So we're going to connect up in that order, and then remember, same as during previous demos, Albert is connecting up first, so he's the one that can start the game. You'll see it go from grayed out to available after 2 clients connect, but he won't be able to actually start the game. So I'll show, well, first let's pick Mr. Green he wants to be. Beatrice, connect up. Right, it becomes available, but it doesn't do anything. All right, it will work once Charlie joins up, but I won't click it until I have all 6, right? We don't want to start the game until we have everyone. So Beatrice, Professor Plum, Charlie, and she wants to be Miss Scarlet. Significance of that, she'll get to go first according to the Clue rules. So once we start up, Miss Scarlet, whoever picked Miss Scarlet gets to go first, and then it'll be Charlie, Dolly, etc. So Dolly, I'm going to connect up with Dolly so she like has her place at the table, but then Eugene is going to come in right after her and steal Colonel Mustard because that's who he wants to connect as. And you'll see when I click this for Eugene, it'll go away as an option for Dolly, right? She can't do that. Good thing she wanted Miss Peacock. And then let's get Franny in there. And she wants Miss White. All right, so everyone's in. Kind of showed how character picking works, and let's start the game. Let me just rearrange these clients really quick so I can get all 6 onto one screen, and maybe the notepad and the arrows will make a little more sense now. So Dolly goes right here. Eugene, the whole thing, and Franny right there. So now I have like a little corner of each one that I could click to get over to. You can kind of see each one in the background, so that'll help show things propagating, like a movement will propagate to all the clients at the same time. First thing, I'll orient you to the GUI, and then we'll go over the chat, the detective pad, movement, suggestion, accuse, a client dropping out, and then a successful accuse. So looking at the GUI, the biggest thing in the top left quadrant is the game board. You have each room represented by a picture that's the same as the picture on the card, and then hallways between them. Each room can hold up to 6 all 6 players. Hallway only holds 1, and then they're blocking it, right? We'll show that with movement. And then each character is represented by a little rectangular piece. So for example, we're on Charlie right now. Her piece, Miss Scarlet, is this red one in the hallway next to the lounge in the upper right with a picture of Miss Scarlet, and it's red for Scarlet, you know. Professor Plum is purple. Colonel Mustard is mustard or yellow, etc. So that's the game board. Then over to the right of that, you have the log of everything that's happened. So this is where you'll see updates from the server, actions, chat, etc. So like if you have a movement, you'll get a readout here, but you'll also see it move on the board. And then those are color coded according to what type of message they are and timestamped. And then obviously you'll have the scroll to go back through them if you forget to like add something to your detective pad. But we'll go over that in a second. So right now, you know, it's Charlie's turn. Like we said, she was smart enough to pick Miss Scarlet, so she's going to go first. But we won't do anything until we get done with the GUI orientation. So the next thing down below the log is your chat panel. So you can send chats to any specific other player other than yourself or to everyone. And then you just put it in this white box, right? Below that, you have your action panel. So because it's Charlie's turn, hers are like turned on. Let's grab Eugene, for example. His are mostly, he can't accuse, suggest, end turn, or move. That makes sense. He can chat when it's not his turn, and he can detective pad, add things to his detective pad, which is what you would want when it's not your turn. But if we have a look at Charlie, she can accuse. You can accuse from anywhere, right? She can suggest. She can't do that because she's not in a room, but you'll see once we move her, she can. End turn, I'm not going to click that. Then you have your directional move buttons, so left, right, up, down. And then the shortcut button in the center. So that's like your cross all the way across the board. So from the top right lounge to bottom left conservatory, or vice versa, or your top left study to bottom right kitchen, or vice versa. And then detective pad. So we'll show that in a second. And then the last thing is the cards. So looking at what Charlie was dealt, she got the study, the conservatory, and the revolver. So those are the things she knows it's not. So taking those, first thing we'll show is the detective pad. She's going to input suspect. She doesn't have any weapons. She knows it's not the revolver. And then room, she knows it's not the study or the conservatory. All right, close that out. And then just to show you like it's persistent, right? Same stuff we put in. Likewise, I used Eugene before, so we'll do it again. He's filling out his detective pad at the same time. I'm just showing you that you can do this when it's not your turn, which makes sense. Like if Charlie does a suggest and Eugene learns something from that, he should be able to fill out his stuff. So it's not Miss White. He doesn't have any weapons, and the rooms, he knows it's not the dining room, and he knows it's not the ballroom. All right, so he closes that, you know, still reads back. Okay, that makes sense. And the next feature before we get into the actual gameplay I will show you is the chat. So Charlie's filling out her detective pad, and Dolly sitting down here. Let me grab her client. All right, Dolly, so you see these readbacks are in order that you joined so that people know the play order, right? So we know that this is the order. It'll always go A, B, C, D, E. And then everyone sees it's Charlie's turn because she picked Miss Scarlet. So Dolly then knows she's next in line, right? So she's anxious to get going. She's going to be nice and just give Charlie a subtle hint, you know, with a nice smiley face at the end. All right, you can see only Dolly's going to see that she sent it to Charlie, and Charlie's going to see she got it from Dolly. We go to like Beatrice, doesn't see anything. Albert doesn't see anything. Going back to Charlie. Oh, actually, no, let's say the next one in line. So Dolly said that, but Eugene is also anxious because he knows he's after Dolly, he's after Charlie. But he didn't see that private chat, so he's going to be a little less subtle, a little more mean about it, and he's going to yell at Charlie. All right, and that's to all. And just going through, Albert saw that, right? Beatrice saw that, etc. All right. So that concludes the detective pad and the chat, and now we'll get into each of the actions, right? So I'm going to segment these into just doing moves. I'll show like all the types of moves. I don't really have a plan for where everyone's going. Then I'll show suggest, then accuses. I'm not going to do this like a regular game where you would like move, suggest, move, suggest, move, suggest until you finally figured it out. I think we can show all the functionality a lot quicker and save everyone's time a little bit. I will show kind of in the transition that you can move and then suggest in the same turn, or suggest and then move. You can do, really you can do all three. You can move, suggest, and accuse all in the same turn in any order except for accuse As soon as you accuse, you either are right and the game is over, so you're not doing anything else, or you're wrong and you're out, so you're not doing anything else. But you could like move and then suggest and then accuse, or suggest and then move and then accuse. I don't know why you would do that, but can. Yeah, so long way of saying I'm just gonna demonstrate all the movement stuff first, and then we'll get to showing like how you can suggest and move in the same turn. So we're Charlie, right? She's up here in the hallway between the hall and the lounge to show like legal move, moving right. Okay, you see that tile bumped over to the lounge, works for Beatrice, Albert, etc. It works for everyone. All right, so she's up there in the lounge. First thing to show, you can't move twice in one turn, right? So you already moved. I'm clicking all the buttons on everything. She can't do that. Good, right? You already moved this turn. She could suggest now that she's in a room. You can see the buttons no longer grayed out, but I won't show that yet. All right, let's just end the turn and continue to show like a bunch of moves. So I'm just gonna go through everyone. Say Dolly's Miss Peacock. So she's down just north of the conservatory. She's gonna go down in the conservatory. All right, that worked. And turn Eugene's Colonel Mustard. Let's say he wants to go up and hang out with Miss Scarlet in the lounge. All right, that worked. And then Franny, Miss White. Hey, let's go over to the ballroom. I'm kind of setting something up here where we will get a hallway block. And the turn now goes up to Albert. You can see you're getting all these readbacks. You know, it's your turn. Franny moved. It's Albert's turn, etc. Albert gets a hey, it's your turn. Albert is Mr. Green. All right, so I'm gonna leave him here. He's in the hallway between the conservatory and the ballroom, just so we can show that hallway block. All right. It's Beatrice's turn as Professor Plum. Let's just go down into the library, whatever. All right, so that's like some basic moves, right? Again, like I'll show you can't do multi moves. Then getting into, it's now Charlie's turn. Let's do some move validation. Oh wait, the last one is the shortcut. So good thing we have Miss Scarlet up here in the lounge. She can now take a shortcut. She should end up in the conservatory. And you can see that works, right? She's down there now. And turn for her. And now we're where I wanted to be, where you have Dolly as Miss Peacock down here in the conservatory. I want to show the hallway block. So she's going to try and move right here, but Mr. Green is blocking her in the hallway, and it says you cannot move there, right? That makes sense. If I do anything else, you can't move like down, left, but you can do the secret passage. So she jumps up to the lounge with Colonel Mustard. I think that completes everything for moving, which takes us to our next portion, which is going to be suggestion. So I just showed Dolly moved shortcut to the lounge, right? And I'll show she can suggest on the same turn, and then I'll show a move suggest as well. So on Dolly, we click suggest. We're in the lounge, so that's the room she's going to suggest, and then she can pick anyone she wants and any weapon. So I'm going to close this out. And hey, maybe I wasn't ready. I'm going to open up the detective pad. Wow, she has a lot of weapons. So we know it's not the candlestick, the knife, or the lead pipe. But let's check. Maybe we'll pick rope, and then I want to show the pull feature here, right? You, when you suggest, you pull a person with to the room you're in, suggesting. So hey, Mr. Green was being really annoying by blocking the hallway, so we're going to pull him all the way up here, so you can't block that hallway anymore. She's going to click suggest, and we're going through a bunch of readbacks. Okay, so let's kind of diagnose what happened. One, Mr. Green moved up to the lounge. We expected that with pull. Two, Dolly said she suggested that Mr. Green committed the murder in the lounge with a rope. You can see everyone else sees that. Charlie sees that. Beatrice sees that, etc. And then we go through each person's refutation. And this is showing the passes. This is good. I kind of randomly made that one up. I didn't calculate it, but it showed 2 passes. So first you went to Eugene, right? The next one after D is E, Eugene. And he does not have Mr. Green, lounge, or rope cards, right? That's good. So he passes. And everyone gets to see that. That makes sense, right? Everyone saw that Eugene passed. And we go to Franny. Again, she doesn't have Mr. Green, lounge, or rope. So Franny passes, and then it goes to Albert. And then Albert was able to refute. So he gets this pop-up on his screen. And wow, I was actually super lucky that I got a double refute here. So after this, I'll do a single refute to show how that works, because there's some intricacies there. But this is a double refute. So Albert now has 2 things that can disprove the accusation, or no, the suggestion that Dolly made. So he has to decide, like, this is like where all the mind games and clue come. Like, what did I show this person before? If I had shown Dolly Mr. Green before, I'd want to show that again, so I'm not giving away too much, right? But like, other people are making inferences based on what they saw that you had, and now you're showing all kinds of stuff. This is like the mind games, right? So we'll just show that Mr. Green, it couldn't have been Mr. Green. He's going to exonerate himself, essentially. So he's going to click this card, and that's going to send it to Dolly, right? So everyone saw that Albert could refute the suggestion, but only Dolly saw what he refuted it with. He refuted it with Mr. Green, right? Everyone else saw just he was able to refute, but not what with. Only Dolly gets to see that. But it's important for other people to know, like, he was able to refute it, so maybe they know the other 2 cards that he has, and they can make, you know, they know it's not lounge, but that wouldn't be the case in this instance. All right, so we showed a double refute there, and that was also a move refute, or a move suggest. Sorry, excuse me. I guess no one is in a position to. Oh, well, yeah, actually, we can do a secret passage. So let's end the turn here for Dolly and go to Eugene. So Eugene is Colonel Mustard. He's in the lounge. Let's go ahead and suggest, and then we'll move from there. All right, so let's just make it a party. Let's pull Professor Plum up there. And, oh wait, I'm gonna just make sure this is a single refute, because I just want to show the intricacy there. So before I do that, I'm going to go to Franny and see. All right, she has the Hall, Miss Peacock, and Miss Scarlet. I'm going to choose Miss Scarlet. So going back to Eugene, he's going to suggest it's Miss Scarlet, and then it doesn't matter because she doesn't have any weapons, so revolver. All right, so the reason I did this is so that it'll trigger a single refute, so that we know Franny can only refute with Miss Scarlet, right? So he'll make that suggestion, and you see instantly Eugene suggested that Miss Scarlet committed the murder in the lounge with a revolver. You make that public accusation, everyone sees that, and then it goes to Franny, who is able to refute. But if we go to Franny, all right, you see this is what we called like a single refute, where she only has one option to refute, but we still require her input to send it, because we ran into a problem before with this where you would do a single refute, and the server would check like, hey, you only have one thing that can refute this. I'm just going to go ahead and send it for you to keep things moving along. But then other players, or even the player making the suggestion, could see how quickly that happened and then make the inference that the person only had one of those only had that one card, right? So this, as in like, this takes it from computer time, computer quick time, to human quick time, which is a lot slower. So you still have to have the input, so people can't really tell that you only have one card, because that's like extraneous information that you don't want sitting, or you don't want to send out if you don't have to. So I'm just going to click this on Franny. She's going to send the Miss Scarlet to Eugene, and you can see Franny refuted your suggestion with Miss Scarlet. And he's none the wiser that that's the only thing that she could refute with, right? And then we'll just do the shortcut. And you saw Colonel Mustard move across down to the conservatory. Yeah, so that was the only way I could do a suggest and then move. All right, so that ends that turn. And the next thing we'll cover is accusations. All right, so we've kind of gone over all the suggestions, the movements, and everything else. So the last things I'll cover is an unsuccessful accuse. Then we'll drop somebody out and show how the client cycles through without both the person who was dropped out because they had an unsuccessful accuse and the person who dropped out either because they quit or had internet connectivity issues. And then we'll do a successful accuse. So it's Franny's turn now. I'm gonna do a unsuccessful accuse with her. Well, let's just do the move accuse just to verify, even though we already showed this. So Miss White, move into the hallway. All right, so Franny moved right into the hallway, and then we'll click accuse, and I'm just gonna make sure it's unsuccessful. So I'm just gonna peek and see, like, Candlestick is over here and Dolly's hand on the far left. So I'm gonna pick that and then 2 other random things, right? We'll do that. And you'll see Franny gets readbacks that she was wrong. She's out of the game. The correct answer, she's the only one that sees the correct answer is Colonel Mustard did it in the kitchen with the wrench. I secretly wanted that so that I can show that for the successful accuse. I'll use that later. And then she gets told you can no longer participate in the game, and it's Albert's turn immediately. If we just go to Albert, he sees like Franny was wrong and she's out of the game, but she doesn't see what she suggested. So that's how that should work. See. All right, let's drop Beatrice out. So Beatrice is just gonna click X here. She'll be out. And then we'll see how that looks on everyone's console, right? Beatrice left the game, And then I'm just gonna click end turn on Albert. And if it's gonna handle it, so it's gonna go jump to Charlie, right? So end turn, and you can see everyone sees it's Charlie's turn. And we go to Charlie, it's actually her turn. And then we'll just cycle through end turns until we get over Franny, who made the unsuccessful accuse, right? Because we need to see that person was successfully dropped out too. So Dolly ends the turn, and then it should go right to Albert. Or sorry, Eugene ends the turn. It skips past Franny, who should be in there after EF, but she's getting all the readbacks, but she can't participate. And then it's Albert's turn now. And then finally, we'll show the successful accuse. So Colonel Mustard, I'm reading right off of Franny's notepad right now. Colonel Mustard did it in the kitchen with the wrench. All right, not a very efficient way to kill somebody, but he's a colonel. Makes the accusation, and you'll see everyone gets the game over. So Albert has correctly accused Colonel Mustard of committing the murder in the kitchen using the wrench. Game is over. So everyone gets that. They click OK. And now we're back to the start screen, ready to play another game. And that concludes the demo. Thank you.
Thank you, Nick, for that wonderful demonstration. Before we conclude our presentation, we would like to share a few key experiences that we had throughout the project, such as our main project accomplishments, the goals we had for our game in the future, and also some of the valuable lessons that we learned while creating this game. First off, I would like to talk about our main project accomplishments. Throughout the entire course of this project, We made sure to minimize as much risk as possible and to achieve all of our set targets and goals as necessary. In addition to this, we were able to stay on time and on budget with all of our deliverables as well, and also maintain our project documentation should we ever need it again for any future modifications or updates. As far as our future goals are concerned, we feel that with more time and a larger budget, we could add several more features to the game that would make the playing experience even more enticing to players. For instance, we would include the addition of animations and 3D models, as well as music and sound effects throughout the game, and even update some of the more customizable features so that players can make the game look and feel as modern and unique as they like. Finally, we have the lessons learned during this project. While we learned a great many things about software development as a whole and working together with each other as a team, these were the lessons that we felt were the most important to remember. And that does it for this presentation. Thank you all so much for watching and for joining us on this journey. I would like to take a moment to thank the members of my team for all of the hard work and dedication they had to this project. Their amazing skill set, work ethic, and collaborative efforts made this game possible. We hope that you enjoyed watching our presentation and seeing our game unfold, and as always, thanks again for watching.